Stories came up on the radon in the schools. All honesty, that raised some concern in parents, the things they saw on TV, and also some of the teachers. And we wanted to, check and make sure, can we put everybody's mind at ease, and do we need to do some mitigation?
And because of KWQC's investigation of radon in schools, St. Paul the Apostle School in Davenport decided to find a way to test for the deadly gas. KWQC's Morgan Otier shows us why they decided to test now for radon, even though so many other schools do not.
It had been quite a while since we tested.
Actually, it's been about 20 years since St. Paul the Apostle School in Davenport tested for radon. St. Paul Principal Julie Delaney says back when the school tested in the early 1990s, the initial results came back at what the EPA considers to be safe levels. So the school stopped testing.
I think everybody thought, oh, you don't need to continue to test.
It's recommended, but schools in Iowa and Illinois are not required to test for the cancer-causing gas.
When something's not required, it's not always on your radar.
Principal Julie Delaney didn't have to test the building for radon.
So I was aware of it, but it wasn't one of those things that I was overly worried about.
But she and her staff saw KWQC's investigation and decided to change things.
Let's speed this up a little bit and let's get it done.
Principal Delaney shut the school down for the weekend and got the testing done, checking every classroom in the lower level of the school. If radon was present in the school, those lower level rooms would have the highest concentrations because radon dissipates as it flows upward throughout the building. The results came back below the EPA recommended action level, which is 4.0 picocuries per liter of air.
After we got the results back, I did send out an email to all of the families letting them know that we had done the testing and that things came back at a lower level. I have to say, especially my teachers who have classrooms in the lower levels, are feeling much better about it.
This also means the school doesn't need a mitigation system, which costs somewhere around $5,000, money not easily found in a school budget.
It is expensive to have done. Had we needed to do that, we would have found the money. It would have been one of those things where you just find it and you sacrifice someplace else.
Radon levels inside St. Paul the Apostle are safe right now, but that doesn't mean the levels won't become unsafe in a few years. And Principal Delaney is prepared to keep checking.
And in the future, what we've decided is that we will continue to test every 2 to 3 years.
Although it's still not required by the state, radon testing is now part of the budget at St. Paul the Apostle School.
It's one of those important things that you have to get accomplished, and we would find a way to get it done.
While the average Iowa grade school student is required to spend half the year in a classroom, a preschooler spends much less time hitting the books. Yet preschools are required by Iowa state law to test for radon.
That's news to me. I did not know that the school system didn't do that.
Robin White is the director of Chatterbox Preschool in Davenport, and she had no idea that schools don't have to follow the same rules that her preschool does.
I figured that they had to kind of follow the same guidelines.
Preschools in Iowa have a long list of requirements they need to fulfill before they can get their license from the state of Iowa. For example, having a fire extinguisher, having a sprinkler system, and testing for radon.
Each year, the state will come and do their check, and it is unannounced.
And testing for radon is very much in Robin White's job description.
We leave it out for 72 hours and then send it back in. And then we get the results by email. It is on our own. We do need to purchase it ourselves.
An unfunded mandate from the state of Iowa, forcing preschools to test every 2 years.
As a teacher, you spend a lot more out of pocket than people realize.
A child care center could lose its license for not complying. Yet so many K-12 schools in both Iowa and Illinois go on untested for decades at a time. Morgan Otier, KWQC, HD News.
And although radon awareness is growing, the EPA is eliminating all money for state radon programs in next year's budget, making it much more difficult for states like Iowa and Illinois to continue to promote awareness.